The Chicago Bulls fall to the Denver Nuggets 136-120. We're going to be talking about the key takeaways from tonight's loss. And so before we go ahead and we jump into it, I first want to remind you to slam dunk on that subscribe button, just like Modest Buzelis slam dunks in games. And so in exchange for slamming on that subscribe button, I'm going to give you nothing but daily content around the Chicago Bulls. And so make sure that you hit that like, you hit that subscribe, and you join the Chicago Bulls Insider family as we talk nothing but Chicago Bulls basketball. And so with that being said, let's go ahead and let's jump into it, as we're going to be talking about the key takeaways from tonight's loss against the Denver Nuggets. And so I always like to start with the points that describe what we saw in this game. And so I have two. And so the first one being energy and effort. I thought that that's exactly what we saw from the Chicago Bulls. We had 9 players that did hit a three-point shot in this one. I thought that the ball movement was pretty good, especially for some players that are just playing amongst each other for the first time. And so I thought that that was good to see. I thought defensively, they played with passion. They were inspired out there. They were diving on the floor and everything else. And so the Bulls really did a great job with the energy and the effort, and they gave themselves a chance to win this game. They were up by as many as 11 points at one point, and then in the third quarter, they had a huge 17-2 run, which got them to a 7-point lead, I believe, going into the fourth quarter. They just were unable to close it. And so I think that that is point number one. Point number two is that with the Denver Nuggets, I thought that we got a chance to see a complete team that played with a purpose. I think that you see a team that they stayed in it. They were confident. They never went ahead and quit on themselves. And the Denver Nuggets just took care of business because they went on a 20-2 run in the fourth quarter. You saw some great games here from the Joker and then Jamal Murray. And I also thought with the Denver Nuggets, their role players did a great job as far as just knowing exactly what they needed to do, and they executed. They didn't do too much. They didn't do too little. It was just a perfect performance for them. And so with the Joker today, 22 points, he had 17 assists and 14 rebounds. Jamal Murray had 28 points and 11 assists. And then you had some good contributions here from players off the bench. And so Tim Hardaway Jr. continued to knock down three-point shots and other stuff like that. So he had 23 points in this game. And then Valanciunas off the bench had 10 as well. And so again, a complete team effort there for the Denver Nuggets in this game as they took over in the fourth quarter. And so those are the 2 points, energy and effort for the Chicago Bulls. Next, it was a complete team game there for the Denver Nuggets as they played with a purpose to finish off the Bulls there in the fourth. And so now I wanted to go ahead and jump into the player box score, where we're going to take a look at each player that played in this game. And so starting with the starters and starting with the guards here. And so with Jaden Ivey, 10 points in this game, a negative 27 in the plus minus box score. He did have 3 turnovers, 3 assists, 6 rebounds, 2 of 2 from the free throw line, 2 of 5 from deep, and 3 of 7 from the field in 30 minutes. And so here's the thing about Jaden Ivey. I think that he continues to show some flashes. I thought that game 1 against the Raptors there, he was a lot better than he was tonight. But still, I thought that he played very well. I think that he really showed, that, hey, he is certainly a player that has some good upside in this game. I liked a couple of his moves. Like there was one move that he makes where he goes behind the back. He gets to the mid-range jumper. He knocks down a 3. I thought his effort level has shown over the first 2 games. In this game, he was fighting with Cam Johnson there, gets to the basketball. He almost dunked it. He got fouled. He got to the free throw line. So, again, the effort is there. The energy is there. His ability to knock down the 3 is there. His ability to get to the cup is there. It's just a matter of him getting back into the rhythm after, just the injury that he's had. So Jaden Ivey, I think to me, shows some flashes in this one. Next, Anfernee Simons. And so with Anfernee Simons tonight, look, I think what he continues to show you is that he can go get you a bucket, because there were several times where I thought he looked pretty smooth as far as getting to these layups. And I also like the fact that He's an athlete, man, when it comes down to it on the offensive end. There was one play where he was able to get a layup after Modest and also to with Ivy and his efforts as far as going out there and tipping the basketball and keeping it alive. So Jaden Ivey and Modest keep a ball alive to get it to Simons for him to finish. So that was good to see. He continues to knock down the threes, had 215 threes made at Portland. And so you know he can do that. And again, he looks smooth at times on offense with the way that he was weaving in and out of the defense and everything else. And so with his numbers tonight, 15 points, a -6 in the plus-minus box score. He did have 6 assists as well. He was 2 of 2 from the free throw line, 3 of 10 from deep, and 5 of 15 from the field in 32 minutes. Next up, Modest Buzelis. And so with Modest Buzelis, I think that he continues to show confidence. And I think that since the trade has been made, you can tell that Modest Buzelis is, I think, a bit more aggressive, in my opinion, over the last 2 games. I know we didn't talk about this last game, but he looked pretty good to start off. He was 3 of 3, hit his first couple shots there, knocking down threes. He was doing a great job, I think, tonight off of just the rolls. So basically his rotation reads were good because there was one time where he comes off of a baseline read and Dillingham finds him for a dunk there. There was one time, too, in the third quarter where he's knocking down a 3 where he gets to the pocket of the defense. I thought he was good at attacking in the fourth. And so even though he was a -19, I thought that there was still a lot of upside with what we saw with Modest Buzelis in this one. And so 21 points, a -19 in the plus-minus box score. He did have a steal in this one. He had 3 assists. He had 8 rebounds as well, 3 of 4 from the free throw line, 4 of 8 from deep, and 7 of 13 from the field in 30 minutes. Again, continues to show confidence shooting that 3 ball, and I think that his defense is going to get a lot better. And so next, Isaac Okoro. And so with Isaac Okoro, I thought that he did a great job as far as being scrappy. I think that that is the thing with him. You're not running plays for Isaac Okoro. And like there was one play for him where he gets a rebound and then he just dribbles out to the corner and he knocks down a 3-point shot. Like I love that about Isaac Okoro. Like you don't have to run a play for him. And I think he's now coming to the point in time in this season where it's like, look, you know that that's going to be the situation. And I think obviously too, with the fact that the trades have been made, you know, they're going to depend on Isaac Okoro as far as just, just being a messenger, I think, for what Billy Donovan and the coaching staff really want to do on offense and defense. And so he's going to get a chance to, I think, lead a little bit more. And so I thought that he did a great job as far as just hanging in there and doing that. And so 13 points, a -14 in the plus-minus box score. He had a steal in this game. He had 1 turnover as well. He was 5 of 11 from the field, 2 of 6 from deep, and 1 of 1 from the free throw line. And so he also had a nice play there off of Rob Dillingham, which Dillingham, which led to a free throw attempt as well. And so again, just being a nice slasher. And so next for Yabusele. And so for Yabusele, I think that with him, you know, he continues to show you that he can be a scorer, and he's certainly not afraid to knock down the 3 ball. And so he has pretty good touch, you know, for an undersized big. And so I will give him credit there. And I think that really what I was impressed with him is defensively. I thought that defensively, he did a great job as far as just trying to make it difficult, you know, for the Joker and really whoever else he was guarding out there. Like, I think he was pretty scrappy. I love the fact that he had conversations out there with the ref throughout the game too as well. I always like that. That just shows me that a player is engaged in there. But he really got hot, especially knocking down some 3-point shots in the third quarter, going into the fourth quarter, helped the Bulls get to that 7-point lead. So I like the confidence there. And so 4 of 10 from downtown, 4 of 13 from the field, 26 minutes. He had 12 points, 2 blocks. He also had 2 rebounds, and he was a -5 in the plus-minus box score. Again, I thought that he did a great job as far as just being scrappy out there, and so did not mind Yabusele at all with the way that he played out there. And so next, looking at the bench here for us. And so number one, just to start off here, so Jalen Smith did not play. He was actually downgraded to out in this game due to a calf, and so that's why you did not see him. Also why you got a chance to see Guerschon Yabusele go ahead and start for the Bulls. And so with Patrick Williams 8 points in this game, a -2 in the plus minus box score, 2 of 3 from the 3-point line, and 3 of 4 from the field in 20 minutes with 2 assists and 1 steal. And so with him, I thought that he made a nice move on the baseline. He had a nice little turnaround, and he was knocking down some 3-pointers in transition as well. And so I think that that's probably going to be the situation for Patrick Williams. And I think that maybe he could be the person that benefits here from all these guards, because if he's just going to sit out there and look to shoot the 3-point shot, when you see, guys get to the lane, if it's Jaden Ivey, if it's Giddey, whoever else is out there, then I think if Patrick Williams is going to be that catch and shoot player, then he certainly could benefit from that. But let's see what happens. And so I think that that's really where he was today. Next up, Leonard Miller. And so Leonard Miller, he got in there, pretty much once the game was decided. Immediately he kind of stood in the corner there in his first offensive possession. And so, I'm not sure what the Bulls are going to get out of him. Remember, his brother Emmanuel Miller was with the team. I talked about this on a couple of the trade videos here, but with him, he's 6'10", and so hopefully, they do work him in, especially with that size that he has. He doesn't have a ton of experience here, and so Leonard Miller did play 3 minutes in this game. Next up, Nick Richards. And so Nick Richards, I thought, was terrific in this game. 15 points. He was a -13 in the plus-minus box score. He had 7 rebounds in this game. He was 4 of 5 from the free throw line and 1 of 1 from deep and 5 of 8 from the field in 19 minutes. And so if you got a chance to catch my video before this post game, I talked about the fact that Nick Richards, to me, is a player that I think certainly could stick around after this NBA trade deadline here. And so talking about the players that came over, I really do think that there is a role for Nick Richards. And what I was impressed with Nick Richards is he has a lot more skill on defense than I really thought, because there was one play where he hustles and he gets it and he goes down and he gets a dunk. And so he's got a lot more speed and he's got a lot more hands defensively than I thought that I initially saw from his game in Charlotte, and then also too with the Phoenix Suns. And so I was very impressed with that. And then the 1 3-point shot that he knocked down, that was actually pretty good too as well. It was in the corner. He's now 2 of 6, I think, for his career. And when you look at his free throw shooting, you're looking at a guy that I don't think that his shooting mechanics are bad. So with Nick Richards, I think that there is potential for him. I'm not going to say that, he's going to turn into just this amazing player, but if you're looking at what Jalen Smith has done for the Bulls and just really how he's taken off this season, I think that that could happen with Nick Richards. And I think he's one of the players to watch for as this season continues on going into next season. So again, I think that there is a ton of potential for Nick Richards. He looked very good catching lobs as well and finishing those. And so next up, Lachlan Ubrick. He did get into the game late as well. Didn't really get a chance to do anything. He was a +2 in the plus-minus box score. I do think that there has to be some opportunities at some point for Lachlan Ubrick as this team tries to figure out what's going on in the front court. Next, Collin Sexton. And so Collin Sexton, again, he is a player that I talked about with his intensity on the defensive end, and not just the intensity on the defensive end. I almost forgot about how intense he is just as a player on the court. So they had him mic'd up. I thought that that was very entertaining to hear Collin Sexton out there. And I'll say this, even when you didn't hear the mic'd up portion, if you were listening to this game, you could hear Collin Sexton out there. You could hear him talking with passion to teammates and things like that. So I very much appreciated that. That is kind of what I was talking about in the start of this post-game show, is just the passion. And I think it starts with Collin Sexton. I thought that he did a great job off the bench tonight. Like, he had a runner, which led to just a nice little and one in this one. And so 17 points in this game. He also did have the four assists in this game. And also, too, he was 4 of 4 from the free throw line, 1 of 5 from deep, and 6 of 14 from the field in 29 minutes. And so, again, I thought that he was very, very good as far as just attacking the defense. This was the and one from Collin Sexton out there. And so loved his approach tonight. And we'll see how this works out with Collin Sexton and the rest of these guards. Then next up, looking at Rob Dillingham. And so Rob Dillingham, I was very impressed with his quickness and his handle. And so with him, like he certainly has that. And I think that when you look at what he did with this offense tonight, once he becomes more comfortable, he understands the personnel and everything else. Like I do expect for him to be an impact. I think it's going to be interesting what happens when Trey Jones comes back. I think the Bulls are going to have to make a major decision there. And initially, when I look at this, I think that the Bulls might have to decide they might need to trade Trey Jones at some point, depending on what happens with Rob Dillingham. And so, anyway, Rob Dillingham tonight, he played pretty well, 9 points, a +9 in the plus minus box score. He did have 4 assists in this game and 1 steal as well, 1 of 3 from deep and 3 of 7 from the field in 22 minutes. And so I think that he really impressed me with the passing too. Like I will give it to Rob Dillingham. Like some of his finds were good. Like I loved his lob. I loved the pass here that he had to Buzelis running the baseline. So I just talked about that earlier with Buzelis running the baseline. So I was very impressed with him. And so, again, some good stuff from Rob Dillingham and some of these additions again. And I have to give Yabusele, again, some credit here, knocking down 3-point shots and steering down the crowd. I love this moment, too. This is when the Bulls were making some big runs there in the third quarter. And so, again, man, just a good effort from the Chicago Bulls over the first 3 quarters. They just were not able to finish out the game as they ran out of gas there. And so next, I wanted to go ahead and jump into the team box score and take a look at that for the Chicago Bulls here. And so, I think that the first thing that sticks out here for the Chicago Bulls is that they shot 45% from the field. And then you see that the Denver Nuggets here shot 58% from the field. So the Nuggets, man, they were on quite a heater, especially in this fourth quarter where they were able to get it going. And then next from the 3-point line. And so the Nuggets 48% from 3, the Bulls 39% from 3. And the Bulls were quite hot to start off early, but cooled down, especially late in the game. Next up, free throw percentage for the Bulls. And so they shot 90% there. The Nuggets shot 67% from the free throw line. And as far as the rebounds, the Nuggets out-rebound the Bulls 41-37 there. Assist, the Nuggets 37-25. They out-assist the Chicago Bulls 9-7. The Bulls lead in steals. 7-3 with the block shots for the Denver Nuggets. Generally, this has been a stat for the Chicago Bulls where they have done well there. The turnovers tonight, 17-14. The Bulls lead in that category, 21 points off of those turnovers. And the Nuggets, 14 turnovers, 23 points off of those. 18-15 as far as just the fast break points for the Denver Nuggets, 60-36 as far as the fast breaks are concerned here for the points in the paint. So 60-36, they actually destroyed the Bulls there with the points in the paint. And then you see the largest lead there for the both teams, 18 for the Nuggets and 9 for the Bulls. And so anyway, that is tonight's game as the Chicago Bulls get beat by the Denver Nuggets. Again, I think that when you look back at this one, the Bulls played well for the first 3 and ran out of steam in that last quarter. And so anyway, you guys, let me know in the comments what you guys are thinking about this loss to the Denver Nuggets. Where do you think this team is headed? So if you have not got a chance, make sure that you check out that last video where we are reflecting on the NBA trade deadline and talking about all these new additions to the Chicago Bulls roster and what direction they might be headed. So make sure you check that out. But anyway, let me know in the comments what you guys think about this loss. And as we always say, go Bulls, and I'll see you on the next one. All right, peace.